Activists sat in large bamboo towers outside the warehouses, preventing vans and lorries from getting in on the US giant's busiest day of the year. Protests started at 4 a.m. with about, blimey, you've got to be pretty keen to be somewhere at 4 a.m. I mean, that means getting up at midnight. That means no sleep. These people are committed. Yeah, they should be. I'll just make that comment for you, so so you don't have to ring in with it. In Dartford, one of the 13 sites targeted, protesters held up a sign saying Black Friday exploits people and planet. Missing out a the. Never mind. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. In Peterborough, there was a slogan, Infinite growth harms planet. Again, missing the. In Manchester, Extinction Rebellion strew items along Sunbank Lane near Manchester Airport in order to stop traffic. Other sites that were blocked, including but were not limited to Doncaster, Darlington, Newcastle, Derby, Coventry, Rugeley, rubbish, no such place, Bristol, Tilbury and Milton Keynes. And videos have emerged of officers ungluing protesters stuck to the road. Yeah, I just don't see the attraction of all that gluing yourself to anything, let alone something as difficult to pick up and take with you as a road. I mean, how much glue would you need to secure yourself to a bypass? XR's spokesmodel in the Dunfermline blockade, Meg, said, "We started here at about 4 a.m. but are not blocking the employees' car park so the night shift can leave. We have good vibes and music," she said.
Yowza.
An XR spokesperson said the action is intended to draw attention to Amazon's exploitative and environmentally destructive business practices, disregard for workers' rights in the name of company profits, as well as the wastefulness of Black Friday. And a spokesperson for Amazon said, "Oh, no, it isn't," or words to that effect. The blockade is part of an international action by XR targeting 15 Amazon fulfillment centres in the UK, the US, Germany and the Netherlands, aimed at highlighting Amazon's activities, or crimes, as it was, as an XR spokesperson said. Protester Eleanor from Glasgow said, "It's essential that we move to a new model of economics that prioritises well-being and sustainability over profit. An era of exploitative, throwaway capitalism will soon be over, either by changing to meet the challenges we now face, or by the destruction of our global habitats and societies. Yeah, either we're going to come to our senses, or the world is going to bring us to our senses." Well, that's an interesting concept. A person whose name I can't pronounce, called anyway, he's a 19-year-old, he or she, sexist, is a 19-year-old student. They said, "We have to recognise that the consumption in the global north is largely based on the exploitation of the working class in the global south. We need a new system that represents people and the planet instead of blindly chasing profit," which is interesting, because that's the exact opposite that we heard this week from David Frost. Lord Frost, that chap whose job it is to seemingly blame the French for everything that his government screws up. Frosty the Dough Man gave a speech which somewhat went under the radar because it was made at the same time that Bodger melted.
Peppa Pig World. Peppa Pig World is it has
yes,
Peppa
yes,
Pig.
Yes. Bodger Johnson was melting into a puddle of goo while spewing on about Peppa Pig, for crying out loud. And Frosty the Dough Man's speech went unreported because everybody was, like mouth open in shock. Forgive you? No. Frosty said, "If we follow the European social model, if we follow the European social model of myriad employment regulations, hefty taxes and stratospheric welfare spending, we will, like most of the EU, enjoy only modest economic growth and squander the opportunities of Brexit." Which is very revealing. Almost like he said it out loud by accident. There's a list called the Happiness Index. It rates all the countries in the world on various measurements to get the happiest places to live. I mention it a lot. Because what is life for if it's not to extrude? Is that the right word? To extrude the most amount of happiness and squirt it all over ourselves. The happiness index, and by no coincidence, the happiest people are always from those countries that do exactly what he said we shouldn't do. Tax their citizens more, protect them with employment legislation, and spend highly on welfare for the benefit of all. The social democratic Scandi countries always top the list of happiness among their citizens. And we're supposed to think that's a bad thing. And what we should strive for instead is the American winner-takes-all model. And that's fine if you have already won. I mean, just think who would benefit from reducing workers' rights? Who would benefit from cutting the welfare payments to those that need it most? Who would benefit from lower taxation? And it's the richest in every case, including the last one, the taxation one. I mean, we get given this story about how it would benefit us all. Oh, lower taxes, and, then we'll be happy. Well, if you're on 20 grand a year and the tax rate is cut by 10%, you'll make an extra £148 a year. If you're on £1 million a year and the tax rate's cut by 10%, you'll make £43,500 more a year. Tax cuts are for the rich. They benefit the rest of us almost not at all. And yet we're persuaded that that's where we should be going. So the rebellion people with their faces stuck to the tarmac are right. And that Garfield the cat impersonator, our Brexit negotiator and full-time unelected bureaucrat, is wrong. Unless you buy into that myth about making it if you try hard. You know, some people win the lottery. We just heard about one of them on the news. A French person. A French person's got my money. Do you have to buy a ticket to actually win? I suppose you do. That's where I've been going wrong. They should have explained that. Some people win the lottery and get out of their poor background and achieve a great success. But the game is rigged against us. I mean, just look at how many old Etonians are in the cabinet and are in plum acting jobs, are running companies and are in the top 1%. It's not because of their genius and acumen. It's because they started the race at the finishing line, while we were all huffing and puffing doing laps. I mean, I know we're conditioned to berate the protesters, but what kind of country would be a better one to live in? One in which we were taken care of, have a safety net, and are less obsessed with consumerism, or one in which the overriding force is to maximise profits at any cost? And if you chose the profits route, just think who that's benefited from as following that policy since the 1960s. The CEOs, chief executive officers of corporations, used to earn in the 1960s about 40 times the average wage of the people in those companies. Today, after all that growth in the intervening period, the workers' wages have pretty much flatlined in real terms. But the bosses earn now 400 times the average wage of the people in their companies. Economic growth is not for the little people, not leprechauns. Little people make the growth happen. It's just that they don't see any of the spoils. It's like the whole human race has been hypnotised by the prospect of owning shiny things. All shiny things now 25% off. Limited offer. Hurry while stocks last.